We are able to say to ourselves now that we do count. And I want to say to everybody under the sound of my voice this afternoon that you are somebody. Don't let anybody make you feel that you are nobody. You are somebody, you have dignity, you have worth. Don't be ashamed of yourself, and don't be ashamed of your heritage. Don't be ashamed of your color. Don't be ashamed of your hair. I am black and beautiful, and not ashamed to say it.
Hey, black child, do you know who you are? Who you really are?
Do you know you can be where you want to be if you try to be where you can be?
Hey, black child, do you know where you are going, where you're really going? Do you know that you can learn what you want to learn if you try to learn what you can learn?
Hey, black child, do you know that you are strong? I mean, really strong? Do you know you can do what you want to do if you try to do what you can do?
Hey, black child, be what you can be.
Learn what you must learn.
Do what you can do.
And tomorrow your nation will be what you want it to be.
I want to be a brain surgeon when I grow up.
Hello, my name is Dr. J.D. Webb, and I will be your host for this evening. We're here tonight to celebrate Black History. Black History Month is an annual celebration of achievements by African Americans and a time for recognizing their central role in U.S. history, also known as African American History Month, the brainchild of noted historian Carter G. Woodson and other prominent African Americans. Woodson viewed the study of Black history and the contributions of Black Americans to be essential to the heartbeat of America. Since 1976, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. Other countries around the world, including Canada and the United Kingdom, also devote a month to celebrating Black history. We thank God for pioneers like Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Barbara Jordan, and John Lewis. It is because of their courage that we enjoy some of the liberties we have today. But what about the unsung heroes and heroines? What about the people who dwell amongst us who have shattered glass ceilings and stolen past the color line? How can we honor and celebrate them? Well, we are taking a moment to do just that. We pause now to recognize a few members of our church who have done great and pioneering things. Rhoda S. Walker was the first African American to be employed by the First National Bank of Tuscaloosa, now Regions Bank, in 1968, where she worked as a file clerk.
I was the first file clerk in the bookkeeping department at First National Bank of Tuscaloosa, 1968. At the time, I was attending Shelton State Business College, and I was among 5 people that was chosen to go to the First National Bank for a job interview. So that's how I got started. Surprisingly, I did not. I thought one time I was being treated so very well, so kind and respectful. I thought, well, maybe they had a meeting before my coming, letting everybody know that I was going to be there on the job. So I didn't experience any of those things, thank God. The 4 years I was there at First National Bank, I had 3 different jobs. And of the jobs, I wouldn't do anything indifferently. I wouldn't change anything. The only thing I wish I should have done was to try to encourage other Black young ladies to enter into the banking field, because it's an institution that trained you well, paid you well, and gave you a chance to excel. So if I had that to do over again, I would do that. Other than that, I wouldn't change any of my jobs, doing anything differently.
The favor of God is unique in that it can provide peace, protection in the most uncertain of situations. Arthur McLin is a Tuscaloosa native and is the product of the Tuscaloosa City School System. He was the first African American scientific and hydrological technician to be hired by the Geological Survey of America, where he worked 30 years until his retirement.
I was the first Black a person to work as a scientific aide / hydrological technician for the state of Alabama. I attended Tuscaloosa High School. It was integrated when I first attended. The state geologist at the Geological Survey of Alabama was looking for a young man to invest time in the earth sciences. And my father, being in the maintenance department at the Geological Survey, heard about it, and he talked to Mr. Joyner, and he hired me on the spot. I did, not so much on the job itself, but when I had to go out into the field, I had to go to visit certain people's houses. So some people were not comfortable with me being an African American showing up on their porch at 8 o'clock in the morning. I had a few difficulties in that, but as far as the job in the office, it was not much of a problem. My faith was the number one thing. That gave me the extra strength to continue on those tough days. I would have liked to advance my education in the earth sciences a lot further than I got, but during that time, it was pretty hard to go to college and get extra credit and work. So that would be one thing I would like to have done, was advance my education a little further.
I still love to go back. This first hymn I'm going to work into a melody is my favorite. Charge to what to keep. Lord, you know I have. Yeah, and God, oh yes, to glorify. I love hymns. I got those from way back. My grandparents, mom. I was a child. I was sitting in a chair, rocking chair, rocking myself to sleep, singing. He is his son, oh yes, my soul, oh yes, to shake and feed, yeah, for there. And when I got to doing the Dr. Watts, that's what they was used to doing back in the old days, it stuck with me. Dr. Isaac Watts was the founder of those hymns. I'll wait until the Spirit comes. I'll wait until the Spirit comes. And yes, I'll move at God's command. Oh yes, I'll move. Oh yes, at God's command.
Reverend David E. Gay Jr. attended and graduated from Druid High School in 1974. He furthered his higher education by attending and graduating from the University of Alabama with a Master of Social Work, MSW, in 1982. Reverend Gay has been featured in newspapers and magazines, including Jet Magazine, and has also been featured as one of the little-known Black History Facts on the Tom Joyner Morning Show.
It's time for the little-known Black History Fact. We celebrate Black history every day, not just in the month of February. Reverend David E. Gay Jr., now the pastor of Beulah Baptist Church in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, has been serving his home community since the mid-1970s. Reverend Gay, a former mental health and social worker, was the first Black director of Bryce Hospital, the largest psychiatric facility in the state, in 2000.
I attended grade school here in the Tuscaloosa public school system. Went to more than one, actually. 20th Street, 17th Street, Matthew Elementary. So I went to several schools here in Tuscaloosa and in Northport. Attended high school at the famed, should I say famed, Druid High School, and graduated in 1974. It was integrated, however, in saying that, there was very few whites there. Oh, absolutely. Always. I experienced some barriers from blacks. I experienced some barriers from those that were whites. You're always gonna have that people think you deserve it, but you're also gonna have the other side, people who think you don't deserve it. So yeah. Before I went to Bryce, I also was director at another place. Once I was an administrative assistant, then I went and ran a hospital up in North Alabama. I lived away from home for a whole year. And the per diem was just like maybe $20-something a day. My wife was worried about it, Flora was worried about it, but I told her I needed the experience. And I ended up staying in the hospital in a little room they had for the doctors that stay on the weekend. I ended up staying there. So the staff would say, Mr. Gay, when we come to work, you there, when we leave, you there. They didn't know I was living at the hospital. I really couldn't afford to live on the economy. So I was really living there inside of the hospital. So from being an administrative assistant, I took a job as an acting director of a hospital in North Alabama. And then I was promoted to director at Taylor Hardin, which is a secure medical facility for the criminally insane. And then I progressed my way to Bryce Hospital. So my proudest moment, however, was when I was made the director. There's no question about it. When you look from going from being a mental health worker, which is taking care of patients, and then being director of a hospital, the first to sit in the seat since 1861, when the hospital was built, to just be able to look back and reflect on where the Lord had brought me from, I consider that to be a blessing. Respect is something you earn, people don't give it to you. I've had a great career, not just with mental health. I had a great career in the military. I retired out of reserves as a rank of major. Retired from the VA hospital. And also, I think, just being humble and being yourself. Never to lift myself up in pride. I'm no better than anyone else. The janitor that works in the organization is just as important as a nurse or just as important as a doctor. And being able to treat people like that, make people feel important, make people feel like they are people of worth, regardless of their title or position. And so I always thought of that as like that and tried to help make it better for those who was less fortunate than I was. I often say it's a good sign of a good supervisor. It's not about me, but it's about the professional growth and development of those who are around you. For me, a legacy would be for those people who will come along and say that Mr. Gay tried to help somebody, or Mr. Gay helped me to achieve some of the goals and obtain some of the dreams, hopes, and inspiration that I had. If someone would be able to say that I helped someone along the way, then as the old songwriter would say, then my living shall not be in vain.
Black Americans have always had to create safe spaces and generate their own opportunities because too often we were considered less than and unworthy. People like Fannie Lou Hamner and A. Philip Randolph and W.E.B. Du Bois never shied away from speaking truth to power and to their own constituents.
You know, from a child up, I always, at first I wanted to be white, you know, because my family was 20 of us, 6 girls and 14 boys. We would make 50 and 60 bales of cotton, gather all that cotton, and we wouldn't have food in the wintertime. So I figured then the white people must be right. But as I got older, I said, no, it's something wrong. And if I ever get a chance, I'm going to do something about it. I'm thinking about in terms of a better and a greater world for all people. And we can't do that by me in one corner doing what I can do to hurt you and you in the other corner doing the same thing against me.
Thinking of a better and greater world for all people. That has been the mission of so many pioneers of the struggle who imagine a greater world for their children and their children's children. Tuscaloosa history is rich with African Americans who have gone the extra mile to secure a better future for our children. Giants like McDonald Hughes. McDonald Hughes solidified his mark on education in Tuscaloosa, serving as principal for then Druid High School, currently Central High School. Over his career, he made a significant impact on education across the state using what he had learned from his tour of the school systems of 6 European countries. Hughes was inducted into the Tuscaloosa County Civic Hall of Fame in 2001, an honor created to recognize citizens who've made long-term significant contributions to the development of the county, while at the same time celebrating the community's history and heritage. The McDonald Hughes Center stands in his honor.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, and let me stand. I am tired. And
since March of 2020, when we went into the pandemic, we have served over 8,000 families, and it was with help from members of the church and also West Side Coalition, which was headed up by Dr. and Mrs. Ernestine Tucker.
The pandemic started. We got food together. People did donations, even with the church. Everybody came together to help those in need. We got the food together, we packed the boxes, and we count them up and see how many that we had, and we got them ready for the people. So when they came, we had fed about 8,000 people with the boxes. We come in the morning and we stay until the evenings, and we had gloves on, we sanitized our hands, we wore our masks, we did social distancing, and we respected one another. And I just thank God for touching the hearts of people that donated. They didn't have to do it, but they did, and we thank God for that. I love helping people, and God put that in my heart. That was my purpose, to help.
In regards to the COVID vaccine, we have a lot of health disparities in relation to COVID-19 because of access to the vaccine. A lot of people have other problems such as what we call comorbidity problems, health conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma, COPD. Those type of problems make having COVID-19 much worse and make your recovery much worse. So your best defense in trying to combat COVID-19 is go ahead and get the vaccination. It's much better than dying.
When the vaccine started and we had a lot of members, even in our church and in the community, could not get on the sites. So members of the GO team started with the Alabama Department of Public Health. We went on the Emergency Management Agency and Druid City website, and we got them signed up because it was something to navigate through the portal to get people signed up. So we have signed up over 50 people to receive the vaccine, and also we worked with Mount Watley to get other members signed up for the vaccine.
Well, what we're seeing is a lot of people in the beginning were afraid of getting the vaccine. Like I said, because of previous thoughts of vaccinations, previous thoughts of the Tuskegee experiment. But with that being said, when people see other friends, family members getting the vaccine, church members getting the vaccine, it made people more comfortable in getting the vaccine themselves. And so having churches like Beulah Baptist and other churches in the community partnering with the health department, partnering with Watley Health Services to give the vaccine, I think it gives you a better sense of comfort in giving that vaccine versus just getting it on your own.
Speaking of vaccines, did you know inoculation was introduced to America by a slave? One Simon's told his master, Cotton Mather, about the centuries of old tradition of inoculation practice in Africa. One Simon's traditional African practice was used to inoculate American soldiers during the Revolutionary War. By extracting the material from an infected person and scratching it into the skin of an uninfected person, you could deliberately introduce smallpox to the healthy individual, making them immune. We know that being the first means you will have battles to fight and hills to climb. But that is the mark of a true trailblazer. In the same city where demonstrators were subject to water from fire hoses and police dogs, Richard Arrington Jr. would be elected as the first African-American mayor of Birmingham, Alabama. Yes, children, we done climbed the rough side of the mountain and have toiled to see the day that a black man was elected as Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America. We have come a long way, and yet we still have miles more to go. Even now, we have our first African-American Vice President, Kamala Harris. Thank you for allowing me to be your host on this evening. We appreciate the opportunity to go down memory lane of our African-American history and heritage. So I want you to know that so many people have gone before us and we have some shoes to fill. So I thank you again and happy Black History to you and yours.